Nikola Vucevic to Chicago, Aaron Gordon to Denver, Victor Oladipo to Miami, and Kyle Lowry blue-balling us. This has been one of the most hectic trade deadlines in recent history. But at the same time, we kinda expected many of these teams to make some deals, especially the Raptors and Magic. I'm gonna go over every single major trade that went down near the deadline, and give a grade to every team involved, and I'll explain my reasoning for it too. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, this video needs no introduction. Let's get right into it. The Aaron Gordon trade. In this deal, the Magic sent Gordon to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for Gary Harris, RJ Hampton, and a future first-round pick. This is a 2025 pick, so unless the Nuggets drastically drop off, it's projected to be a late first-rounder, which isn't that good. I'll give the Magic a C+ and the Nuggets an A. Some of you might be wondering, a C+ for the Magic? Isn't this what they wanted? To get rid of Gordon for some assets and go into full rebuild mode? Well, yes, but the return they got was, honestly, pretty damn bad. Gary Harris, once known as an incredible sharpshooter, he regressed. In recent years, he fell off hard, and with his history of leg injuries, this time we don't even know if he can successfully recover. Not to mention, Harris is also older than Gordon. The Magic also got RJ Hampton, who's been, for the most part, a bench warmer, and he's a complete unknown at this point. The 2025 pick, it's way too far in the future to tell how valuable it could be. It's also protected, so if it ends up very high, the Nuggets might even keep that pick. I know Aaron Gordon hasn't been the same and his career stagnated. I even made multiple videos about that over the years. But the Nuggets still came out on top here. The players they gave up were not contributing much this season, and Gordon can kinda fill in the role that Malik Beasley did in previous years. It's kinda shocking the Magic didn't have any other decent offers on the table. The Nikola Vucevic trade. Now, this is better. The Magic sent Vooch to the Bulls for Wendell Carter Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and 2 future first-rounders. Al-Farouq Aminu was thrown in to match salaries. I'll give the Magic an A+ for this one, and the Bulls, a B+. The Magic got a massive haul. It's a great deal for them. Wendell is a young prospect, but he hasn't made a huge leap since his rookie year, but he's still shown a lot of promise, with a long future ahead. Otto Porter is an expiring contract. I doubt the Magic are gonna keep him, but they also got back the Bulls' 2021 and 2023 first-round picks. These picks are the most important pieces of this deal. That's what the Magic are really looking for, essentially 3 quality assets plus an expiring contract for their all-star center. As for the Bulls, I don't know what they were thinking here. Do they expect to make the playoffs by adding Vucevic? Maybe make a run for the 8th seed? Perhaps. Vucevic is great, but he's not a franchise-changing player. Giving up their first-round picks for a 30-year-old Vucevic, it just doesn't seem worth it. But hey, they still got an all-star center, so it's not that bad. The Evan Fournier trade. Wow, this deal was even worse than the Gordon one. Fournier has been having a career year, probably the best year he's ever had. A near 20-point-per-game scorer, and the Magic can only get back 2 second-rounders and a washed-up Jeff Teague. In fact, he's been way better than Gordon. I assume the reason is cause Fournier is on an expiring contract and probably won't stay in Boston, nor do the Celtics have enough cap space to re-sign him over the summer. I'll give the Celtics an A- because they're making a run at the title with Fournier, and the second-rounders don't have much value. It's a temporary acquisition, but it could pay off tremendously. The Magic will get an F for this. I know the market is tough and Fournier has an expiring contract, but he's been playing so well. I feel like they just got ripped off. The JaVale McGee trade. The Cavaliers sent McGee to the Nuggets for Isaiah Hartenstein and 2 second-round picks. I'll give an A to the Cavs and a B+ for the Nuggets. The Cavs literally got more back for McGee than the Magic did for Fournier. That's crazy, and it's even crazier because McGee is also on an expiring contract. So it leads me to wonder, what in the world were the Magic doing? Anyway, he wasn't getting much playing time, and the Cavs never planned on keeping him. So essentially, they got back a few assets for free, because he was likely gonna leave over the summer anyway. it wasn't a bad deal for the Nuggets either, although I don't know what they see in McGee. At this point of his career, I don't think he's gonna provide much to a team looking to contend. But hey, it was in Denver where McGee had his best years in the past. Maybe the team could revitalize him. The George Hill, Austin Rivers trade? So there was a pretty low-key 3-team deal. It's not that exciting, but here are the details. I'll give the Sixers an A, cause George Hill is by far the most productive player in this deal, and they didn't give up much for him. The Knicks and Thunder, both, I don't feel like they gained or lost much of anything. I'll give them a B. Maybe the Thunder did alright with the picks, and giving up George Hill isn't a huge deal for them. They weren't making the playoffs anyway. This whole trade was essentially just the Sixers wanting to add a veteran leader and quality point guard off the bench. Hill could be very valuable for their playoff run. The Pneumonia-Bielitsa trade. Actually, a surprisingly great steal for the Miami Heat. I'll give them an A+, and the Kings a B. Neither Harkless nor Silva were getting many minutes in Miami, but Bielitsa is a legit three-point threat. He's been kinda having an off year in terms of hitting threes, but previously, he's proven to be a great shooter. The Heat really need guys like him, big guys who can stretch the floor and help the team with its spacing. They're currently near the bottom in three-point percentage, so Bielitsa could help mitigate that. Plus, with more attention on all the other Heat players, he'll have a lot more space to shoot. The Delon Wright trade. Hey, for all you Raptors fans out there, you recognize him, right? Delon has transformed himself into a legit starting caliber player, a very well-rounded combo guard who's been having a great year in Detroit. But then, the Pistons traded him away for Corey Joseph and 2 second-rounders. B- for the Pistons and A- for the Kings. I understand what the Pistons were trying to do. They believed Delon's stock was at an all-time high, so they wanted to cash him in for some picks. 2 second-rounders is not much in the grand scheme of things, but Delon wasn't going to be part of their future anyway. They're at the bottom of the East and trying to compile as many picks as possible to rebuild. For the Kings, Delon is an upgrade over Corey Joseph, and he'd be a great backup who can play either guard position. The Norman Powell trade. We kinda saw this coming, or at least I did in my previous video. The Raptors are on the outside of the playoffs, and this core of players will blow up eventually. Powell has been with the team for such a long time, and now in the midst of a losing season, he's having the best year of his NBA career. Everything from his three-point shot to his overall game, he's been absolutely fantastic. However, he's not on an expiring contract, but he'll probably reject his qualifying offer, so he might be a free agent a few months from now. Plus, the Raptors got back Gary Trent Jr., who's much younger and he's been balling out. Rodney Hood has been playing very poorly, but he's only thrown in to make the salaries match. I'll give the Raptors a B+, and the Blazers a B. It's a tough one cause Powell is clearly the better player right now, but the Blazers are deep into the luxury tax, so they're just gonna let him walk over the offseason. At least they got rid of Rodney's contract. The Rajon Rondo trade. Hey look, Rondo's back in LA, this time playing for the Clippers. I feel like this is a rather neutral trade, B for both teams. If this was a year ago, I'd say it's a terrible deal for the Clippers. But this season, Lou Williams has been underwhelming, and he isn't getting as much playing time as before. Not sure how Rondo will fit in, but defensively, even today he's better than Lou. He might be more useful in the playoffs, just in a leadership role, as Lou probably won't play too much. On the flip side, Lou returns to Atlanta, and his career is pretty much over at this point. He'd be a valuable mentor for the young guys though, so nothing too serious here. It's kinda sad cause he wanted to retire as a Clipper, but now he won't even be with them for their playoff run. The JJ Reddick trade. Age has finally caught up to JJ. This man, once known for running the most distance out of any player in the league, he's starting to slow down. He's getting old. He could still be useful on the Mavs, hitting spot-up threes when Luka kicks it out. On the other hand, the Pelicans got a washed-up James Johnson. The other players were just throw-ins. Overall, this trade had very little impact. The goal for the Pelicans was that they wanted to dump JJ's contract, and the Mavs added a shooter that could potentially pop off in the playoff push. I'd say it's a win-win, B+ for both teams. The Oladipo trade. Wow, that's a very underwhelming trade for Oladipo. However, if you look into it, the Rockets knew what they were doing. He's expiring, and they weren't gonna re-sign him, especially since he doesn't look the same as before. Kelly Olynyk and Avery Bradley are also going to be free agents, and the Heat were not gonna sign them either. So this entire trade was basically just the Heat renting out Oladipo for the playoffs. In return, the only meaningful thing is the 2022 pick swap, which could be valuable in the right circumstance. Anyway, I'll give the Rockets a C and the Heat an A, just because they were able to get Oladipo for such a low cost. I'm not sure why the Rockets couldn't get anything better. Maybe everyone was just wary of Oladipo's injury history. Anyway, that's all folks. I think I covered most of the major trades that happened near the deadline. Let me know your thoughts on what the most impactful trade was. Do you think teams like the Magic or Heat, who made a lot of trades, was it worth it? Do you think they could have done better? Which team, in your opinion, got the biggest deal? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. And, of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.